From the land of lakes, this is 10,000 Takes. Brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week as we slice and dice the always busy, always topical, super saturated Minnesota sports scene. And here we go, Wally, off into mid-September. And I would say the purple have garnered the headlines the past few days. The Minnesota Vikings, based on a solid win against the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey last week. I thought the defense was outstanding. Sam Darnold was pinpoint. He threw some dots, very accurate. Probably exceeded expectations in his Minnesota Vikings debut. Aaron Jones ran the ball well. They had some mistakes, but week one usually is chock full of penalties and errors across the NFL because it's basically a preseason game now.
Yeah, well,
that counts.
Yeah, because nobody plays preseason. Nobody plays their players in preseason games. A. B, how will Sam Darnold do against an NFL team? We'll find that out this weekend when they play the 49ers. I mean, the Giants just look terrible.
In the 100 years of New York Giants football that they celebrated last week in the Meadowlands, that team might be one of the worst of the 100.
Boy. And certainly Daniel Jones did not exactly pressure your Minnesota Vikings defense. It was the other way around. They had their way with him all day long. I mean, I don't know. I hear a lot of crying out of the Big Apple about Daniel Jones and how it's time for them to move on from him. Look, the Vikings are the one who gave him that big contract, who launched him into this, this next atmosphere, if you will. But I think you're right. The defense played really well. Sam Darnold looked like a quarterback that could help them this year, but man, I got to see more. I just have to see him against better competition.
Well, yeah, it's one game, and we know when you, after week one in the NFL, there's a lot of overreaction, good or bad. You have 16 fan bases that want to get rid of their head coach, and the other 16 think they're on their way to the Super Bowl.
So that was a holiday last Monday, It's overreaction Monday.
Right, that's right. Well, I think for Sam Darnold, you go back to MetLife where you played with the New York Jets, get rid of some of those demons. And now he gets to face San Francisco, his team from a year ago. I mean, he was a placeholder for Brock Purdy, but certainly being around Kyle Shanahan and the innovation the 49ers have in a very creative offensive scheme was probably good for Sam Darnold. It was almost like there was no pressure for him last year. Just sit there, watch Purdy, go to the Super Bowl, lose in overtime to the Chiefs, and now he gets – at least he knows what the 49ers defense is all about, and it's one of the top ones in the NFL.
Does he bring anything to the table that Kevin O'Connell can use? I mean, are they sitting him down and saying, what are they doing in this situation, in this I mean, obviously they have all kinds of film. Yeah. That's beside the point. But what are they talking about behind the scenes, beyond the film? Are there things you think he could share with, O'Connell and the rest of the staff that might help the Vikings this weekend?
I think there is. I mean, the 49ers put a lot of stuff on tape, as they say, so you have to prepare for a lot. There's a lot of pre-snap motion, led by Brock Purdy, and then you've got Deebo Samuel, who's the Swiss Army knife of NFL guys. He can do a little bit of everything. Christian McCaffrey did not play against the New York Jets. He had a bad calf. I expect him to be out there this weekend.
Of course he will.
But this Jordan Mason, who filled in, was remarkable.
He's pretty good, too.
I would think Darnold can tell them some things, but remember, Kevin O'Connell came out of the NFC West with the Rams. He knows all about the 49ers. And on the flip side, Kyle Shanahan and San Francisco, they know all about Sam Darnold.
Yeah, very true. That's true. That's a great point. Okay, so 1 year ago, the 49ers came in here. I believe it was a Monday night or a Sunday night game. It was a Monday night game. And the Vikings, I don't believe they were favored, but they ended up winning the football game. They're not favored this weekend either. Last I saw, they were either 5.5 or a 6-point underdog. It's been varying throughout the week. Is this team good enough to knock off the 49ers? I suppose any given Sunday, right? Isn't that the way it goes? Isn't that what you're supposed to say? Any given Sunday?
I would say clearly the Vikings are, if they can win the turnover battle. If they can run the ball with Aaron Jones, he had a touchdown against the New York Giants. Ty Chandler will probably get some carries. I think you want to keep that 49ers offense off the field because even if CMC, Christian McCaffrey, doesn't play, this Jordan Mason looks...
CMC.
Well, that's what they call him.
Okay.
I liked what I saw out of Mason. They still have George Kittle. They have Brandon Ayuk. They have a dominant O-line led by Trent Williams. Kyle Juszczyk, they run the fullback. Hey, 2 teams with a fullback. How about that? C.J. Ham in Minnesota. That's pretty rare these days.
CJ had a fumble last week.
He did.
I think I saw it was it his first ever fumble?
Yeah, he doesn't cough it up much, but he doesn't get many carries.
Well, he doesn't get many chances. That's true.
Sure, Minnesota can win, but I think one thing in San Francisco's case is all Kyle Shanahan has to do is pull out the video from last year and say, hey guys, we came in here heavy favorites a year ago, and look what happened. We got knocked off. So 49ers are going to probably be ready.
Does Sam Darnold need to be more mobile against the 49ers?
Yes, but that's hard to do.
I know. Well, first of all, he's not that mobile in the first place.
No, and they have outstanding linemen. They have linebackers who can move around, guys like Fred Warner. They're good on the back end. And they're a physical football team.
Right.
That's what I like about San Francisco. They play that old school smash mouth style. Look, I know the skeptics are saying, okay, well, they beat the Giants. If Minnesota can knock off San Francisco, they'll be the early season darling in the NFL because that would be, to me, a signature win. They're the NFC champs. They just missed winning the Super Bowl.
Okay, so now after the 49ers, you've got the Lions and you have the Packers. Obviously, you have Houston in between there. But the Lions looked really good on Sunday night against the Rams. And your Green Bay Packers are going to be without their guy for a while. Jordan Love is out, 4 to 6 anyway. That's a big hit because until right before kickoff on Sunday, he was the highest paid player in the NFL. Then Dak got his contract about 5 minutes before kickoff.
Yeah, Dak made all his money against Cleveland. He sure looked good against your Brownies.
Boy.
They were baked. Well, with Jordan Love out, that's unfortunate for Green Bay. It is a long season. They expect him back. Now they have Malik Willis, who will try to, kind of steady the ship and see if Green Bay can tread some water until Jordan is back. But, you brought up Detroit. I thought the way they won that game in overtime against the LA Rams last week was pure power football in the state of pure Michigan, as they say on the license plates. I mean, David Montgomery ran behind that O-line, which is very they road grade, and Penny Sewell, the right tackle, led the way. I couldn't believe the way they plowed through the Rams in overtime to get the win.
The Bears somehow won their opening football game, and they really did it without Caleb Williams. He was a non-factor in that game. They did it with turnovers.
They did, and they were down 17-0, and they come back and win 24-17. Caleb's going to have to play much better. Caleb, no different than Sam Darnold. Comes out of USC with all this hype.
He can move a little bit more, though.
Oh, he can. But Darnold was the better ex-Trojan quarterback last week. But there's a lot of football left, as we know. And unfortunately, these quarterbacks are falling down like dominoes. We see it every year. Yeah. Vikings already know about it with J.J. McCarthy.
Right. All right. Well, week 2 on the docket, right?
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go.
The NFL is up and running. All right, stick around. We're going to talk to a guy who just missed being part of MLB history. This is 10K Takes, your purple ticket.
Come and enjoy the 21st Annual Lakeville Art Festival, September 21st and 22nd. View original artwork from over 100 juried artists, accessibly located on the park-like grounds of the Lakeville Area Art Center in historic downtown Lakeville. Shop the art and enjoy live music, food court, and a beer and wine tent. Participate in art demos, community and youth art projects. There's something for everyone at the premier art festival south of the Twin Cities. Visit lakevilleartfestival.org for more information.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision. It's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Welcome back. Well, I know a couple of weeks ago you were out in Southern California, Dodger Stadium, and you happened to witness the night that Shohei Otani famously picked up his 40th stolen base and then got a walk-off grand slam to get his 40th home run and become a 40-40 guy. Him and Jose Canseco in the 40-40 club. I wonder if Shohei's ever taken one off his noggin that went into the stands. No?
I don't think so.
Okay. So we have found a guy originally from Forest Lake, now lives in Golden Valley, who also was at that ball game, and he nearly had the baseball. I don't know how much that ball would have been worth, or do we know right now how much that thing is worth? Tony Voda. All right, Tony, you got your Twins cap on. Like I said, you're a Golden Valley guy. I appreciate that part. So do we know how much that ball would have been worth had you actually caught the thing?
I haven't seen that it's gone on the market yet, but with it rapidly approaching 50-50, I think the value is diminishing, which is good for my heart and head.
And Tony, I know for me and my kid Ben, who was there with me, it was like an epic night. It was a Hollywood finish in Hollywood. I mean, you couldn't have scripted it any better. So we, along with the other 45,000 fans who left Dodger Stadium, I think we were euphoric. What's your feeling, though? Because you've got the glove on, you're out there in right center field, you have the ball, and then you're bumped by a fan, and it bounces back onto the field as they play I Love L.A. over the speakers at Dodger Stadium. What's going through your mind at that point?
Oh boy. All I can picture is the black night sky, the ball coming, and just thinking, this is really happening. This is actually happening. And just a minute before that, as he's walking up to the plate, I actually talked to the security guard lady that was right next to me, and I was like, wouldn't that be crazy? And then we were both like, just like you said, nah, the writers aren't lazy like that. They would never allow Shohei to hit a walk-off grand slam to get 40-40, but that's exactly what happened. And then right after the aftermath, I just immediately put my hands on my head, just shaking, and couldn't believe it. Like you said, there was 45,555 people that were super ecstatic, and then there was one guy that was just heartbroken.
You and the pitcher of record that night, whoever that may have been.
Yes.
So did you feel like Charlie Brown when you dropped that ball, or Les Nessman from WKRP when he was waiting for that ball to come into his glove? What exactly did you feel like?
I mean, that's probably pretty accurate. I was worried that I was Bill Buckner, because when you're in the zone like that, you just think there's no other senses going on. Everything was just silent. Couldn't tell anything else around me, just tunnel vision. And I thought, how did I miss that? I must have closed too soon. I didn't even realize yet that there was any interference. Only playing it back in my head and even seeing the replays did I realize, oh no, there was a little bit of a bump. So at least I cleared my name a little bit like that. But yeah, it's the weirdest feeling, especially because earlier that night during batting practice, I made a catch that was almost exactly like that, maybe within 10 feet of where I didn't make the catch. So it felt like a weird form of deja vu and just two sides of the coin.
So Steve Bartman, when he was at a Cubs playoff game, became, public enemy number one for supposedly interfering with a ball that I believe it was Moises Alou may have caught, and the Cubs lost the game, lost the next game, did not go to the World Series. And he's, I think he's been unfairly treated. Do you feel like you're getting a better shake, in the sense that I know some of the Dodger fans have reached out to you, and there've been some articles written about this, that yeah, it was unfortunate, but there are people who, they show compassion, don't they?
Yes. I think that's been the really cool aspect of this, is getting so much love from people that are either really close to me, or, like you said, just random people that were behind me in the stands that didn't even know me. And I was even wearing a Tampa Bay hat just because that hat fit better than my Dodgers hat. So like you said, humanity just showed up that day. So much love. And I just got to thank those guys that are back out in LA, and some of my other friends that contacted me immediately, because like you said, they picked me up. And kind of like Steve Bartman, that was also going through my mind, because it was coming down at a steep angle and it barely cleared the fence to get to me, because I was in the front row. And last thing that I wanted to do was interfere with that ball, because oh boy, if Steve Bartman caught it in Chicago, I would have caught it if I would have taken away Shohei's 40-40.
Did you just happen to be there on that night, or was this planned, or how did that all come about that you were in Los Angeles on the night that Shohei was going for, and in that spot in particular?
Yeah, it was just kind of on a whim. I had planned basically months in advance to go out to California. Wanted to do a road trip, see the Twins down in San Diego on Monday, then went up to Oakland on Wednesday, and then finished it off in Dodger Stadium. And I really like catching home runs, so I thought, let's put myself in a good situation to catch one at Dodger Stadium. I didn't think it was going to be historic like that, and I didn't think it was going to be from Shohei. I would have been happy if it would have been just a random guy off the bench, but I mean, I guess fortune was smiling in my favor for the most part because, like you guys said, got to witness history and probably the most unique view of the entire stadium.
And I know, as I saw it with my own eyes, Shohei rounds the bases. He gets the Gatorade bath. I think he's interviewed in 3 different languages after the game. The stadium's going bonkers. Have you played the woulda, coulda, shoulda game that if you catch that ball, do you feel like you meet Shohei, maybe get some Dodgers swag, work out a little deal? Did you lose out on anything there?
I think so. That's definitely gone through my mind. First and foremost, I definitely would have wanted to actually talk to Shohei, do some sort of trade like that. The biggest thing in my bucket list is to throw out a first pitch. So doing that in Dodger Stadium would have been really cool. But I can't really dwell on that too much because that alternate universe is definitely not privy to my eyes.
Well, Tony, we appreciate you spending some time with us. I'm sorry you dropped the ball there, Charlie Brown or Steve Bartman or whatever you want to call it, but it sounds like it's something you will never forget.
Nope. Thank you guys very much.
And thanks for being a good sport.
Yeah.
I do mean that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. He is Tony Voda. He had a chance at making history or having it in his back pocket, but he dropped it. We're back with more here on 10,000 Takes after this.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earrings. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Come and enjoy the 21st Annual Lakeville Art Festival, September 21st and 22nd. View original artwork from over 100 juried artists, accessibly located on the park-like grounds of the Lakeville Area Art Center in historic downtown Lakeville. Shop the art and enjoy live music, food court, and a beer and wine tent. Participate in art demos, community and youth art projects. There's something for everyone at the premier art festival south of the Twin Cities. Visit LakevilleArtFestival.org for more information.
Well, if you're a big Minnesota Twins backer and had high hopes for your squad to make a postseason run similar to what they did a year ago, I'd say you might want to put those hopes on hold right now. It has been a rough, 2 or 3 weeks anyway. Yeah. You know, you've been without Carlos Correa for almost 2 months. He is lurking. It sounds like, we're going to see him anytime now. But I think that their biggest problem, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, I told you, I said, man, they got a lot of rookies in that rotation. It does not look like this is a team that's built to win in October.
Yeah, I feel like it was a foundation built on quicksand because of all the injuries. And then you bring in these new guys, and I kept saying to myself, is this sustainable? Because the record's still pretty good. They're still a wild card team as we speak, but things are getting crunched
narrow.
up. Yeah, Detroit's in the mix, Seattle, Boston,
yeah.
And, how you play down the stretch will sometimes dictate if you grab one of those playoff positions, one of those wild card spots. Look, all they have to do is get in. We know that.
Right.
But I still think, unless they get some of their guys back, I don't know how they could go on an October run if indeed they get into the playoffs.
And when these guys do come back, and they may be back as of right now, based on when we did this show, but are they going to be at 100%? I mean, they're going to need them at least at 90. I saw a quote from Byron Buxton. He said, yeah, we got to be at least at 90%, hit the ground running. There's no doubt about that. But look, you can't go into Kansas City, a team that you are basically fighting for positioning with, and get swept like they did last weekend. That's a huge loss. And you can see there's cracks in the foundation now, too. There's bickering going on. Royce Lewis, not thrilled about playing second base. Your guy, I call him Rockhead. Rocco is just, with his lineups changing every day, and then he pulls Bailey Ober out in that game against Kansas City last Saturday, 83 pitches, and he's out of the game. And he had retired the last 15 batters. He had retired 15 straight batters. Yeah, get him out of there. He's had enough.
And those kind of decisions have repercussions.
Of course they
are
do.
Felt in the dugout.
Exactly.
Into the clubhouse, because then the players start to wonder, well, wait a minute, why did you make that move? Because you go to the bullpen in that specific game. Johan Duran comes in. He's not effective. Griffin Jacks comes in. He struggles. And that was a Fox game. And Eric Karros was the color analyst for Fox. And he called out Rocco on national television saying, well, because they were speculating on who would come in after Johan Duran. And Karros said, well, Bailey Ober should still be in there. Now, that's something we've said a lot here in Twins territory. But when you have a guy who's just going in to do a game and he's not seeing the Twins day in, day out, he made that call, and I thought that spoke volumes. So they do have issues. And the other thing is, if they get into the postseason, almost certainly they'll be a wild card. More than likely, they'll be on the road. It'll be a best of three. It'll be flip-flop.
Probably at Houston.
Yeah. So, wow. I mean, last year they started as a divisional winner, but they didn't have any first-round bye. So they hosted Toronto, and that worked out well. But they don't really feel like a postseason team. They don't pass that playoff test. But right now, they still have a chance.
They do. There is some good news. I don't know if you tuned into it earlier this week here in Twins territory, and it has nothing to do with the Twins. It's your Minnesota Frost. There it is, the Minnesota PWHL squad, the women's hockey team that won the championship, the very first league title this past spring, I guess effectively it was. They have a nickname finally. They spent an entire year without a nickname. Now they have it. Now they can sell all the jerseys and caps and sweaters and everything else. But what took so long?
Yeah, for the entire PWHL,
all
six franchises unveiled the nicknames, a few days ago at the exact same time. Well, I like the color scheme. Thank goodness they do have a name. I was hoping for North Stars or Northern Lights or something like that. But here's my deal with Minnesota Frost. I don't know. It's all right, but I think it's Minnesota passive aggressive. Frost is a big deal if you live in Oklahoma. Or if you live in Florida and you're trying to keep your citrus crops from going rotten. Minnesota's cold. How about freeze? How about blizzard? How about, whatever. Frozen lakes, frozen lakers. But frost, to me, that's kind of wimpy. Minnesota's frost is nothing. If we have frost in January, we're going to be happy.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, you've got frost from January through April, man. That's when their season is.
That's true.
All right. So just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah.
They are the only defending champions we have in this town right now.
Yeah, until the Minnesota Lynx win their fourth WNBA title. Boy, they're on a roll.
Yeah, they are. The Lynx have played well. And Afisha Collier won Western Conference or Player of the Week again. I mean, hey, they are on a roll.
They've got Caitlin Clark's number, Indiana. They've knocked them off a few times. Same with Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. They were the 2 seed at the time of this taping, so there's a possibility for some home court for the Lynx. They're just outstanding in every phase with Cheryl Reeve, the coach, general manager, and as you mentioned, Afisa Collier, Kayla McBride. This is a team that I still think they fly under the radar a bit because of Reese and Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson in Las Vegas, but I think they can make a run.
Yeah, we shall see. Maybe they'll bring another parade to the
that?
Twin Cities. All right. More to come. It's Takes of the Day. Stay with us right here on Minnesota Scores 10,000 Takes.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
10K takes on television as we wrap up yet another episode. Big shout out to the viewers in the Twin Cities watching on Channel 6 and Fox 9 Plus.
We are on the plus.
Yeah, so
That's a plus.
all right. What's your mood this week? Are you an angry American, a giddy guardian, baked brownie? Cleveland Browns got smoked by Dallas. What is it?
Yeah, they stumbled out of the starting gates. That's for sure. Well, I don't know how much NFL you watched in week one. I'm sure you watched a lot, as much as free TV allowed anyway. I know you didn't exactly tune into the Packers on Peacock.
Yeah, no Peacock.
No Peacock
for this
for
cowboy.
you. Yeah, no. Although the Gophers were on Peacock too.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
No,
Yeah.
Kyle Rudolph was the color analyst.
Okay. Well, anyway, so all these games that I tuned into, and I watched bits and pieces here and there, every single kickoff I saw. Now they got this new funky kickoff alignment, right? They put both teams, with the exception of two receivers and one kicker, both teams are all lined up at about the 50-yard line? Is that what it is? Then you got, 8 or 9 guys on one side and 9 or 10 guys on the other side, and they're lined up 10 yards apart. Okay, so they're trying to, avoid these high-speed collisions. Kind of the kind that Jordan Addison tries to avoid when he goes 150 miles an hour. But my point is they feel like they have this part right, trying to avoid the injuries that tend to happen on kickoffs. By the way, you still have punts. So how are you going to eliminate that? But okay. So you've got these kickoffs where these guys are 10 yards apart. Now the kicker stands back at the 35. And the idea is you got all the skirmishes going on at midfield, so nobody's going to get hit hard, that fast. And you got these two receivers stand back there. Well, it's pointless. The kickers are still just kicking it out of the end zone every single time. Matter of fact, the numbers proved out it was like 22% of the kicks were returned. Last year, 37% of the kicks were returned. So you've actually gone down from the number of kicks that returned. NFL, this is not that difficult. Move the kicker back. How hard is this? Move them back to at least the 25, if not the 20. Let's make all free kicks from the 20 from here on out, whether it's a kickoff or a free kick after a safety. It just makes sense. Come on, Roger Goodell, get this part right. You get so many things wrong. This is an easy one.
All right, the mood meter says, grumpy guardian. Well, the NFL is tripping over itself, trying to change a game that has become so popular.
Per usual.
Well, my take of the day, let's talk college football. Washington, Oregon, USC, UCLA are now part of that bloated Big Ten.
Right.
And this is turning out to be good for the UCLA Bruins because programs that have not gone to the Rose Bowl for a long time, their fan bases are going to flock to Pasadena this year. This week, specifically, Indiana will bring about 1,500 fans. That's more than the Hoosiers normally travel. Iowa expects about 2,000 folks from the Hawkeye State to go out to SoCal. But you want to know which program's going to pack the Rose Bowl with the most visiting fans?
I think I know.
Yeah, we're talking about a 60-plus year drought of not playing in the Rose Bowl. That would be Minnesota.
Of course.
The Gophers are expected to have at least 10,000 fans at the game October 12th, Minnesota at UCLA. So if you go out that weekend, you'll see them on the beach at Santa Monica. You'll see them on the rides at Disneyland. They'll be everywhere. Here comes Gopher Nation. Problem is, this is just a regular season game. It's not the real Rose Bowl.
No.
On that note, we got to go. We'll FedEx out those thank yous. David Weld, Paul Langfellow, Tony Voda, for Wally, I'm Eric Singh. So long. This is 10K Takes Your Sports.